What is up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Wonderful episode on the way with Fer Juaristi coming at you. One of my favorite guests and one of my favorite photographers and people of all time, really. He's been a huge influence in my work, in my life, and got to meet him earlier this year and teach with him, actually, which was insane. Be on the same poster as this guy, which made me feel very unqualified. He's an incredible photographer based out of Mexico, but shoots destination all over the world. Incredible guy, family man. Love talking to him, but I want to tell you about something really cool we've got going on. On May 5th, we're having our next workshop in the Bearded Tog Facebook group. So it's going to be a free online workshop where you can come and learn about the specific topic that we'll be teaching on in the Facebook group. So I'm going to give you a little bit of insight. That particular workshop is going to be on SEO. One of the things that I love to talk about. It's going to be very low level. So if that is something that just stresses you out, you're not sure why you should learn it, you're not sure how it can work for you, I think it's the next phase. So our first workshop was on generating leads. This one's going to be diving into a portion of that, and that is SEO. I think the thing I love about SEO that I've talked about before is that it's free to work on. That's the only reason. And that if you can find out what people are looking for, and if they're looking for what you want to shoot, then that's a symbiotic relationship that I think could be really good for your brand and can really help you find couples who like what you're doing, and you can make better work and be more inspired and more fulfilled, right? That's the end goal of SEO, and I think that's what's really cool. And so to come to the workshop, it's free, no emails to sign up, just a few basic Facebook group questions that are pretty standard. What are you guys struggling with right now? I want to know how I can help you the best, and then what your profession is, because we have a lot of wedding vendors who aren't photographers now after the leads workshop, which is super cool. So anyway, I've been talking way too long. I want to get into this episode with Fer, who is incredible. So without any further ado, here's Fer Juaristi. Well, dude, let's just get rolling, man. So, Fer, is that the proper pronunciation of your name? Let's make that the clear for everybody. Is Fer or Fer, or what do you like?
It's from Fernando.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Duh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, does that mean we should say Fer, or do people just call you Fer, like kind of trying to be cool?
I'm used to everything, man. They can call me Furry, Fossy, whatever, man. I'm always gonna react.
I love it. So I remember, so we just met in January at the Creative Summit, which was really fun. And it was, I don't know if I hadn't spoken at a lot of conferences. I know you've spoken at a ton, but that one definitely felt more of like a community and like friendship than a lot of the other conferences I'd been to. Was that the same for you?
Yeah, well, I think it depends on the speakers as well, to not be that like spooky to everyone. So you want to be relatable and try to like have lunch and breakfast with different groups, and just don't belong to only a pack, because that becomes scary.
No, that makes perfect sense. Especially like, I could see people even thinking about that. Like you and I and Jason and Mike was his name. I forget his name. But like, we were all hanging out, and I could see people looking at us in that way, like maybe we're a pack. But it was like, by the third day, you've become friends. And you're like, oh, we just like hanging out, or you and Jason know each other, and vice versa. But at the same time, no, I love that you were intentional about just getting to know people and trying to be. I think they have a saying at a lot of conferences where they say, "Don't go in the green room."
Yeah.
Or.
Yeah, no, I think it's always good to be able to break the ice, and I know a lot of photographers, we are like awkward people, like by nature. Yeah. It's hard to relate a lot of the times, but when you do the extra effort, it's magical.
Oh, I love that. I appreciate that. So tell me, I feel like I got to know a little bit of your story over the past few years, and then you photographed weddings for friends of mine, my wedding photographer, Sam Hurd, you're good friends with him.
Yeah.
And so tell me a little bit about your story. You're from Mexico, and how did you become a photographer? And then like, how is that? is your work different than what it was when you first started? Has your philosophy changed?
Well, I've always been like the typical daydreamer guy, not knowing what I want to do with my life. So for me, it's always been like being Peter Pan. I hate growing up. For me, adulthood, it's like scary place. And I have 3 kids and I have a wife and I'm super respectful and awesome with them. But at the same time, I'm just I'm still a teenager in so many ways. So photography for me has been one of those like anchors that help me to keep relating to younger generations. My first passion in life was music. I've been playing drums since I was 12, and my pack was the same, was musicians, and we just hang out creating like original music, just like stupid stuff like that. But I'm always been surrounded by creative people. I never been one of the cool guys or let's smoke outside the room. No, I'm more like a geek. I'm playing video games and just, I don't know, trying to really connect and know people. So I just have a handful of really good friends. And if I cannot have like a deep conversation, and if you just want to talk about like soccer, we're not going to connect.
Yeah, no, 100%. I could see that in you, that you want to have those deeper, meaningful conversations, not all the time, but you're definitely a deep guy, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's always good to have contradictions and find like new knowledge and new ways of doing the same things. I'm obsessed with that, with the process of every individual.
When did you become a photographer? Like, when did you transition out of music and into photography, or when did that happen?
That was on high school. We started to play in different bars illegally because we weren't old enough to play there, but we needed to have a art for our gigs, so I grabbed the camera because we wanted to have a photo shoot, and we did just stupid stuff, like guys without shirts in on top of a building and that stupid stuff, but that connected me to that, and I started to buy CDs or tapes based on the cover, on the art of the cover, and I just started to discover all these photographers and what they had in common, and these guys connected with amazing musicians, and they were like a team. The same as a producer usually finds the juju magic on the studio. A lot of photographers find the way to relate visually the music of artists, and I just got hooked by that.
I love that. I feel like we should, next time we're together, we'll recreate a shirtless photo on top of a roof.
Yeah. And after that, I found the same connection with cinematographers and directors. And you can connect the same, the most amazing movies. Usually they were the third or the fourth movie that one director was working with the same cinematographer. So it takes time to develop their craft and their vision, and I just got hooked, and until today, I go to the movies based on the cinematography, not only the story, but who photographed this movie.
No, 100%. I know when we were in Florida, we talked about our love of A24 movies, like Midsummer and Hereditary and those kind of stuff, and it's definitely different, but visually, it's one of those things where it makes us happy. That's the simple fact. Is watching it makes us even happier than maybe other movies, and we like other movies, but it's like your favorite meal, or this is very satisfying.
Mm-hmm. There's still an old documentary called Masters of Light, and it's pre-digital, interviews with a lot of cinematographers and just explaining their craft. And it's just mind-blowing what they could do. Yesterday, I was watching All the President's Men, and that guy, the cinematographer, was Gordon Willis, and he did The Godfather and all those intense 70s movies. And he was famous because of how he lit the faces, and he was always hiding the truth, all these shadows in the eyes to show mystery and meaniness in a few people, it was just magical. And on movies, everything has a justification, and I love that. That's my main inspiration.
No, that makes perfect sense. It's like, yeah, especially in movies, especially big productions, everything has been thought out, and there's not a lot of, improv or fly by night. And there are movies that have that, and they're great, but there's an intentionality. Like the director of photography knows, hey, I'm going to light it this way. It's going to look this way. It needs to feel this way.
Yes.
All these things. And as photographers, oftentimes, especially wedding photographers, we're so prone to, just hop in and make it work or something like that. But I think one of the things in your session that was really powerful at Creative was just talking about how much, movies inspire you and how much your work has changed over the last few years. I want to know, for you, like, what were your first few, weddings like for you versus what they're like now?
Well, till this day, I don't have a clue what I'm doing, but I've been doing this for 14 years, and I think like teaching workshops and going to conventions, what has helped me is to try to land what's inside my crazy thoughts. I think because if not, you just react. You become like this monkey of, oh, there's a moment, and you just capture it. And okay, let's base our photography in love, because this is a wedding, so we have to capture only love. And I think once you start to make it more personal, you can honor your heroes, and you can, if you slow down enough, you can really feel what makes you tell stories on your own way. Because weddings are, like, to be totally honest, they can be quite boring. We know how they start. We know when they kiss. We know when they cry. It's like a stage. Everything's scripted. So we have the ability to make it more interesting or more childish or more obscure. And that's the thing that I love about this community, that there are so many ways to tell the same freaking story. So at the beginning of my career, I was just trying everything, like I was using like zoom lenses. I was using like off-camera flash. Until this day, I don't know how to use it. I was just experimenting, because for me, a professional photographer meant that I needed to master my craft. But the craft of photography, it's huge. You can be the master of macro photography, or the master of moments, or the master of off camera. But till this day, I have to accept that I cannot be a master of everything, but I don't want to be a master of none. And I'm okay with that. Like when you see pictures that you don't know how to do, you are like, wow, I'm so down. I need so much work till this day, right? But that's their vision. And I think one of the things that we have to learn is to be okay with our limitations. So for example, I travel a lot, and I don't want to have an assistant to travel with me. I want to save money. That's, to be totally honest. So I have two options. I can bring 10,000 freaking flashes and light everything, or I can just say, okay, high ISO, come to me, on camera flash, burst everyone's eyeballs, and just simplify things. Yeah.
No, I love that. I think it's one of the things for you that I feel like a lot of people have their thing, right? And I think it's, like you said, when you try to do everything, and it makes everything less valuable because it's a smaller piece of the pie. Like if you only make creativity, a percentage of what you do, and the rest is like, oh, I shoot with off-camera flash or whatever. We'll put it this way: most of the photographers we know, like Jason Vincent, right? He is so incredible at off-camera flash and these dynamic portraits and stuff like that. But I think like his skills in other areas it's almost like a video game. He's a character, and like his off-camera flash skill is really high, but his other stuff might be a little bit lower, and not like crazy low. He's a professional, but like different stuff. And I love looking at photographers like that and saying, oh yeah, they're really like Fer is really good at creative situations and simplifying. He travels light, you know, whereas I could picture Jason with like a backpack with like stands and lights. And he's like, oh, he's that character, and you know, you might not want to use him if you're on a boat or something like that. I don't know. It's a funny video game. But for you, I want to know, like, how do you apply the creativity and the childishness or the inspiration? How do you apply that to something, to the things that aren't portraits during the wedding day? Do you get to, like, getting ready? Do you get to be creative a little bit there? Like, how do you go into a wedding thinking like that?
Yeah, well, most of my angles are from like a child's perspective. I think I'm always on my knees, or I'm always trying to hide. So I think that makes it like that, like more like innocent. Like for me, the word professional doesn't exist. Like my photography, it's not professional. Like a professional like hates grain. Everything wants to be like pure and like commercial. And even if I shoot an image at ISO 50, I'm gonna add grain to it. You know, so for me, I think the imperfection, it's one of those tools that we sometimes are afraid of, but it becomes magical if you make friends with her or with him. You know, because in the end, no matter the tools or no matter how good we are, if we don't find people that relate to our vision, our passion, it's just going to become a 9 to 5.
You have to figure that out and have people that align with that. Hey guys, I want to hop in here real quick and just tell you about one of our sponsors. You guys know Tave. We talk about Tave all the time. It's my client management system. It's my system of choice for managing my photography business. It's one of those things where it's just so advanced and customizable and helps me manage everything that I don't know what life would be like without it. Like, I'd probably have to hire another person and spend that money, whereas like Tave is like the cost of a subscription. One thing just to note that I think is a fun story about Tave, other CRMs have offered me money, basically triple what Tave has offered me. And I said no, because I don't use their services. I don't want to use their services. And now I use Tave. So if that doesn't tell you that you should be checking out Tave, I don't know what will. Before Tave, guys, I used my own calendar, invoices, quotes, proposals, payments, galleries, email, scheduling, second photographer contracts, everything. It was awful. It only worked for when I had a few clients. And now we do over 60 clients a year. We're growing the team. Tave makes it super easy and makes sure that every client I have gets the luxury experience that they should. One of my favorite features of Tave, you guys know this, is the booking reports. It tracks all your inquiries, how they found you, of course, how much you got paid. And this just helps look at trends and not be nervous when things like the news or things going on in our planet are affecting, you know, your leads and inquiries and how people feel about things. So you can go back and look at the data and say, hey, it might be rough now, but things are going to be better later on. Or actually, we always have a lull in this month or whatever. I know a lot of people are emailing me in February and saying like, oh, things are going crazy right now. And I'm like, no, like it's February. Like January has a lot. February is going to feel not as busy. And that's just what happens. So guys, people at Tave have hooked it up for you guys, an extra 30 days in the free trial instead of their normal 30 days. So I want you to go over to thebeardedtog.com/Tave, sign up, get your extra special 60-day free trial, and try out Tave today. That's thebeardedtog.com/TAVE to try out Tave and get your life back, guys. Thanks for Tave for sponsoring our show. What was that? Did you ever have a wedding where the couple maybe wasn't into the creativity or wasn't into what you're wanting to do? And how did you approach that? Were they still happy with the end product, or you know, how did that make you better?
Yeah, like in the end, the most like scary part is like knowing that they booked you because of your vision, right? And sometimes they booked you because you get a referral from a wedding planner or a past client, and maybe they don't even haven't seen your work. And that has happened to me. Like even last weekend, it was weird. Like during the session of the bride and groom session, the mother of the bride was with us like during the entire time. So it's hard for you to play with some things that you usually play with, you know, like and you have to be able to adapt and say, okay, it is what it is, and we just have to improvise. and I saw like the bride was feeling the pressure. Like we did the session before the ceremony, so she wasn't super comfortable. So when that happens, I just cover my ass. I just take the simple stuff, and then I try to improvise and find different gaps, because it's hard to be relaxed during a wedding day. I can feel their energy. So when they're not cooperating, I'm not gonna push it. I'm gonna say, hey guys, like let's have a drink, let's talk a little bit. Like photography, it's not everything. You know, like photography, it's a freaking luxury. You can get married with no pictures, and you're still gonna love your husband or your wife, right?
Yeah.
So I think as an industry, we have to really grow our empathy and not think about the awards or the freaking hoorays that you're gonna get about a few clicks. If you don't connect with your couple, you're not gonna last long in this industry.
Yeah, no, that's a big quote right there. I feel like it's a weird job where for artists, for photographers who don't have to be in business, they don't have to have that sense. But for us, we're so close to our subject, and because of what we do, it's a good challenge. We get a new subject every weekend, right? Or every wedding. But at the same time, it's the job where it's not about us, despite it being, we're the vessel that tells the story, but it's how special is like the vessel, right? Like nobody thinks about the beer glass, they think about the drink inside of it. Like nobody cares about the glass. So
like I remember a wedding a few years ago, it started to rain, and the couple was just depressed because they booked this beautiful venue, outdoor venue, like no tent. So I say, hey guys, let's just play. And we started to improvise and did like a few pictures indoors, and they remembered that, like, hey, like even if we had like the weather against us, you make it happen, and we really value your attitude towards that.
Yeah, no, couples need to know that you're on their team, right? Yes. Like you're not their challenger. I think that's important.
Correct.
Tell me a little bit about this thing. I feel like I didn't know anything about it that you did, and then I saw Instagrams and stuff. Tell me, what is Visbons? Visbons.
Yeah, well those are my favorite images. It's like visual boners. That's the what Visbons represent. I have to change it now, because if not, I'm gonna get sued or something. But you just have to beep this part of the podcast, man. But instead of saying like my favorite images, I wanted to create this word that people could relate to it. So a lot of my couples, when they see me excited and I'm creating something for them, they tell me, hey, you're creating a Visbon, right? And I try to make it part of my brand as well. So like I think I know that social media has like grabbed a lot of the attention of our couples, but I always push them to visit my website, because my vision is there. They had to read everything so we can create this beautiful bond and create images for them.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. I heard the name a while back, and I was like, oh, that's kind of a funny name. And then, but it makes so much sense. It's like this, you're just getting excited, and we've all been there. Like there's weddings where we have to act excited, and then there are weddings or parts of weddings where we're getting excited and things are popping and it's fun. And, we're trying to create something that is fulfilling us, right? And will serve the couple, and that's when it's the best, right?
Yeah, and a lot of couples, like when the time is tight, I have done like I don't do like 0 portraits of them, and my portfolio is full of portraits, but I take that as a challenge. I say, okay, I'm gonna tell their story in a better way, because I don't have portraits. So okay, let's go in, let's put our like PJ mask, like not the heroes, but the like photojournalistic mask, and let's make it happen.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's one of those things where you appreciate the challenge, and you'll laugh at this, right? There's so many people that say they are a storyteller, right? But then then the photos are just portraits. And I'm like, well, what are you doing? You know, and I think it's okay to I love portraits, right? And I love storytelling images, but, you know, I think there's like a balance, and, you know, the work, it has to be obvious. And I think that is, it's a higher level of photography, of thinking.
Yeah. You know? And I think sometimes we rush ourselves to tag ourselves, you know, like this is my flag. I'm this guy. I do this, and I think it's better to be patient until, like, it's the same with style. Like, you just do your stuff. You don't care like what shape or form it's getting, until sometimes a few of your colleagues are gonna tell you, hey man, like, I love your stuff. Oh, thank you, man. I see this and this and that influence in it. Oh, thank you. But it's not about always being conscious about what you're doing. I think time, it's wisdom. So you just have to focus on what feels good, and honor your inspiration or your heroes.
No, absolutely. It's, I think, and it goes back to what we were talking about with your love of cinema, and like, so safe to say that those are your heroes. Do you have any like photographer heroes, or is it all cinema?
No, it's I have a lot of like non-wedding heroes. I think in the industry I love to connect and make friends, but I hate consuming wedding photography. Like I like I'm always on a wedding photography diet, like 24/7, man. I hate that stuff. Because
exactly. Well,
if not, we're just gonna recycle the same stuff.
No, 100%. It steals. It's not that it's bad or you want to disrespect your friends or anything like that, but it's one of those things where, like on Instagram, you have to choose, like, you want to follow them, but not to see their posts, because you want to, you love them and you want to support them, but you're like, hey, if I see your work, I'm going to imitate it, even if I don't want to.
Yes.
You know, I think that's like what we don't understand. And so it's like, from an artist perspective, you have to put the content in front of you that you want to create, that you want to pursue. And if that's only through Instagram, and that's just, you know, photos of flowers, photos of rings, photos of couples looking at the camera, you know, colors, skies with no color in them, you know, whatever, then that's naturally what you're going to create. Because it's almost, Fernando, have you ever heard this phrase? In the US, they say, like, you're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with.
Yes.
Have you heard that?
Yes.
I think that applies for us with art. Like, you're the average of the 5 you know, kinds of art you surround yourself with. And if Instagram is that, then, you know, that could be dangerous depending on your inspiration. You're like the average of 5 inspirations.
Yes. Yeah, and I love following like hashtags like minimalism or surrealism as well. Because that's gonna give you a lot of information that you don't know their names, but it's amazing stuff, you know. But like the question you told me, like, I think my favorite photographer of all times will be Rodney Smith. I think I've been following him like maybe for like 12 to 14 years, and I still remember the first picture I saw of him, and I was like, wow, okay, this feels like vintage, but it wasn't vintage. Like he always shot with one Hasselblad, same lens, no artificial lights. Like the fashion of their models was just like I don't know how to say, like timeless per se, and not a lot of expressions. And you could see that maybe he was in a big city, but he chose carefully his compositions, and they were like whimsical and funky, but nothing happening at the same time, just like muted images. And when I found him, I tried to like honor him and like, to be totally honest, like rip his stuff out to see if I could use it on a wedding.
Yeah. No, the thing with his work is like it doesn't even look like a photo. Like it's a piece of art, and it's a lot more obvious. And I think that is when you get to that level where you have a model, but it doesn't matter what the model looks like, but it almost does. You're just teetering on this balance, you know? Like his stuff is so good. And like you said, like the same camera, the same lens, like you were talking about keeping your equipment minimal because you want to focus on what you're making rather than what you're making it with. You know, I think that is just That's important. I love that. I love it.
Yeah,
Man, Rodney Smith, I would love to get him on here.
Yeah, well, he passed away like almost 4 years or 5 years ago, man. So, and I was so close to meeting him, but it didn't happen. So, but I have all his books, and it's way up there for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Anybody else that you really love? Have you heard of Nick Brandt?
No, I haven't.
All right, I'll text you. I'll Instagram you his work. He does like so we've seen a lot of like National Geographic photographers, right? Like we've had Amy Vitale on here, and she does all the elephants and pandas and rhinos. Mm-hmm. But Nick's work is, I think you'll like it. It's very different, and it shows kind of this highlights of Africa in like a really cool way. It's incredible. I love it.
Yeah, I think the other guy that I truly love, his name's Tim Walker. He's like a UK fashion photographer, but I don't know. You can see that it's fashion, but it feels more personal, and I love his stuff. It's like it's the opposite as Rodney Smith. It's like a big production, but I don't know. I love his his sensibility.
Yeah, no, he has I think he has a photo of like a dragon or something, and I love it. It's like at this orange kind of vibe, and it's one of he's still making photos where I'm like, all right, I don't know how you did this, and I love that. It really is. That doesn't happen too often now after doing this a while, but it's fun to hear that and see what's going on.
Yes.
Tell me, this is not as high level of what we've been talking about, but like, what's it like being a wedding photographer in Mexico? Do you shoot weddings in Mexico, or you mostly shoot out of the country? Mm-hmm. What's that like? Is that hard? Do Mexican weddings not feel as creative, or what's that like?
Well, for me, most of my couples come to me. Like I think, all the Riviera Maya, it's like the number one city of that they do the most amount of weddings per year, like in the entire freaking universe. And then it's Las Vegas. I think it's after that. So most of my couples nowadays are Americans, Canadians, or Europeans flying to Mexico to get married. I didn't start it like that. I started working like till this day. Maybe it's like 70% like destination inside Mexico and 30% for Mexican couples.
Okay. Do you like that? Do you feel that's like more fun now, or do you like, especially now that you have family, like you don't have to travel as much?
I like to. I wouldn't be a local wedding photographer. I will hate that. Like if I have to shoot in the same place like 20 times a year, I will. I think no, that's not for me. So the thing about doing destination weddings is like sometimes I'm at the forest, and then I'm at the ocean, and then I'm in a freaking ballroom. So I like that diversity.
I love that. That's super cool. Is there anything happening this year that you're really excited about? Or I guess we talked earlier before about coronavirus, that like one of your weddings got canceled, right? Yeah,
it got postponed, but I don't know what's gonna happen. Like in Italy, there's a lot of people like suffering right now because like the rich Americans, they instead of coming to Mexico, they go to Italy to get married. So they're just like stopping their weddings now. But I think for me, every year till after 14 years, it's just being blessed that I have enough weddings to shoot per year. I don't plan my life a lot. I just try to keep it simple, like a low cost of living, and be wise with my money, and for my wife and my kids, and just have enough weddings to photograph. I don't ask for more.
How many weddings is that for you?
Between 20 to 25. That's solid for me.
Yeah. What does your schedule kind of look like managing family? Do you outsource? Do you edit everything yourself? Like, what's your workflow being busy and shooting, 20, 25 weddings a year?
Well, I'm an early bird. I usually wake up between 4 and 4:30 in the morning. And I because my kids wake up at 6:30. So that gives me like 2 hours to do everything I need, since from like working out, meditating, starting to work, because I try to focus on my family a lot. So I work from 4 in the morning till 2 p.m. And in the afternoon, I don't sit down and work. I just maybe check Instagram or just a few emails, but I don't go to my office anymore. I become a full-time dad.
That's awesome. So from after 2 p.m., unless you have to be somewhere, you're with the family. When do you go to bed if you wake up that early?
Super early, man. Like 10, I'm just like dead, man.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. Is there what does it look like for you, especially doing destination stuff? Do you do engagement sessions, or is it that really doesn't work for you, right?
It's rare. Like sometimes I do destinations of like other couples, like that they're attending the wedding, or sometimes I do like the rehearsals or the like a pre-wedding, or sometimes we do like a day after session as well. But it's not that common. Usually I arrive the day before the wedding. I go and say hi to the couple so they don't see like a freaky Mexican just like taking pictures on their wedding day. Yeah. And then I don't invest a lot of time in my couples, man. I invest my time in my family and my friends, because I want them to connect with my work. That's my websites for, to sell my stuff. And I'm not gonna, tell me your story. I'm not gonna do like a Skype session for like 3 hours with them. No, man. It's like, hey, man, I'm your guy. This is me. We have like a 20-minute Skype. If they can connect with me, awesome. If not, I connect them to other photographers.
Sure.
Because I really don't want to have too many details on my head.
Yeah. Yeah, because it constricts you. It takes away freedom, right?
Well, it takes away time from my kids. That's it.
Yeah, that too.
I don't need their whole story to tell a solid wedding.
Yeah, no, that's fascinating. I feel like that's good insight too, because there's an element of like you want to know what's different about them, but at the same time, at the very least, like if they're two white people getting married in the States, like you pretty much know how the wedding's going to play out. Not to be offensive to anybody, but like there's only 15% of that wedding might be different, and it might just be like, oh, it's in a different place, it looks different, whatever. Versus like, if they were having a different type of ceremony, or if you shot like an Asian wedding, and things go differently too. So that makes sense. I love that.
It's honoring your personality. I don't wanna be like a fake. I don't wanna be like, hey, so like I'm not a wedding planner. I'm a photographer. I keep in touch with the wedding planner, and they give me like the shorter version of everything, and that's it. Because I don't need best friends anymore. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes we connect and awesome, but I'm not going to push it. I hate salespeople or salesmen or saleswoman. So I don't want to be that asshole that is pushing to be their best buddy. Like they respect my stuff. They're going to trust me, and we start from there.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. I think it's, that idea is if they're going to become your best friend, you want it to happen organically, at least too. Like,
and I'm gonna hug them a lot, and I'm gonna touch them. Like, hey, man, I'm here for you. I'm gonna give my soul to make beautiful images for you. And they see me like sweating like a freaking pig and running from one place to another. They can feel that I'm not this lazy photographer with a 70 to 200 just shooting pictures in a corner. No, they feel me. I dance with them a little bit. I'm not a big dancer, but there's more ways to show interest than just like asking questions.
No, that's super important. I think that's for that kind of insight. That's come a long way. Were you different years ago, or have you always been this way? Because it sounds like your values have changed.
Well, no, I'm like. At the beginning, I went to a coffee shop and I asked all these silly questions like a soap opera, and I paid for their coffees. And then, we went with a cheaper option or something. And I just like, whoa, I just invested like I could go to the movies with my family instead of talking with strangers,
Yeah.
So for me, that's extremely important. Like time, it's the most important asset that we have. So I'm not going to waste my time with a client. I don't like that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think that's going to be one of those things too, where it's just going to be hard to understand.
While I'm shooting, I do everything. I give everything, but not before and after, Yeah.
That's cool. I feel like it's important when couples can see you going like 100% and they're getting, 100% of your attention. That's going to be important.
Yeah, the phone, you leave it on your freaking back, like while you're working, you don't have a phone with you. You just drop it.
Yeah, no, I love that. Hey guys, I want to hop in here and just thank another one of our sponsors from Photo Booth Supply Co. Photo Booth Supply Co. is a really cool company based out of California, and the goal from them is to make us more money as photographers and wedding vendors. I have their new booth. It's called the Salsa, and it's super, super cool. There's no attendance needed, no backdrops, no old gross props. It's not going to be cheesy. It's not going to feel not luxury. What's really cool about it is that it's not luxury priced. They have payment plans available, and it's really affordable. It's less than one wedding for most people to purchase, even though you can make your money back within just a few events. So Salsa is really, really cool. It's my favorite. It's the digital-only selfie style and eco-friendly booth. It's all in one. It literally takes 60 seconds to set up, guys, and the booth runs itself. Like, it has all the instructions. It has everything any wedding guest, I feel like, could figure it out. It's really, really cool. It's light enough, too, that you could just put it in your trunk or even take it with you in an Uber in a big city. It's really, really, really light. My favorite part for Salsa specifically is that at weddings, while, I made money off of it being there, it's also generating emails and phone numbers from the guests who have put that in to get the images sent to them. And I can use that as part of my marketing platform. Even the texts that send them their images say, hey, follow us on Instagram, or hey, come say hi. And it's just been really, really cool to walk home from a wedding and get out of here. Come home from a wedding and have inquiries waiting for me, or follows on Instagram, or just couples asking about our services and asking about our booth. So it's been really, really cool. So as I said, Salsa's super affordable. They even have payment plans, guys. So you don't have to save up to start making money. You can start today. Head over to thebeardedtog.com/booth to get your Salsa photo booth and start making more money on every event today. That's thebeardedtog.com/BOOTH. Big thanks to Photo Booth Supply Co. for sponsoring our show. I have found, at least down here, some couples, because I love when I'm on, I'm at a wedding, if there is like a small time, or usually when we're traveling, like from getting ready to ceremony space, sometimes there's this, like this year, I've been carrying a lot of the bride's bouquets, but on accident. She just needs somebody to hold it. I'm like, hey, let me grab that for you and try and serve them. So I'll take like an Instagram video of me holding the bouquet because it looks funny.
Yeah.
This large bearded guy with these soft, beautiful flowers. But what I found is now what happens though is you do that, and then some brides are like, "Hey, can we be in an Instagram story together?" And I'm like, "Sure, like we can do that." But I never want it to look like I'm not, loving on them or working with them.
Yes.
I want it to be like, "Hey, I'm a professional that they trust, and we have this friendly rapport." But I'm still creating at the top of what I can create for them.
Yeah, like I'm always in a big contradiction with all that stuff. Now with the instant gratification and the freaking like the persona that we are in social media versus the person that we are like human to human, like my wife, she's like a big influencer in Mexico, like fitness influencer. And I'm a grumpy old guy with that stuff, like I have a hard time. I hate it most of the time, and I love it like 10% of the time. And I still don't. I don't know where I go with social media and sharing like when it's happening. Sometimes I'm a grumpy guy with that.
Yeah. Well, being grumpy, do you have, like an Instagram strategy? Like, is your stuff scheduled out, or do you just say, let me go find a photo I love and share it?
No. I like it to keep it organically. Like, I don't have any strategies. I don't know numbers. I don't go to Google Analytics. I don't use any of those things. I just take care of people. Like, I take care of wedding planners or florists or the mother of the bride or like the bartender. I become friends with everyone, like talk to them with respect. And I think that you can invest a lot of time in SEO and all these freaking strategies. But if you're like a good human being and you connect with people, they're going to feel you and the referrals are going to keep flowing.
Yeah. And the referrals will be the good kind versus,
just random people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I want to ask you about in your Instagram bio, everything seems pretty normal, but then it says you're a gamer. Are you into games?
Yeah, I love like indie games.
Like, what is that? Tell me about that.
Well, just like I don't know. As I was telling you, I love the process of making things and knowing how they were made. So like independent games that maybe one or a team of up to like 50 people did, like in their garage, and they can tell a story and they can hook you up. And then like the podcasts that I listen to as well are like how like making of like video games.
That's really cool. Is there a game that has like your favorite story? Like what's the best game you've found that that had a really cool story behind it? Like
one of favorite of recent years, it's called Celeste, and it talks about like anxiety, man. It's like a platformer, like a Mario Bros. Like kind of game, but it's like pixel art. But while you're playing it, it's like you confront like your bad version per se, and how you want to get rid of it. But it helps you to, hey, you're part of me, and you have to climb this mountain. It's just mind blowing, man. What they can do with pixels and code. For me, I'm just get obsessed with that.
You just see, it's cool to see the process, you know, of how somebody else does what they do. Have you, I found for me, it's one of those things where knowing how to learn something, knowing how to figure something out and how to serve couples or serve clients or whatever. Like I love kind of like you said, like diving into games or, you know, like I just love learning the nitty gritty of other industries or, you know, like even sports. You know, I'm not a big sports person, but you know, what's the technique? Or they're like,
yes,
you get what I'm saying? Like those little tiny things like that you don't see, or like what's that one setting that Fer loves on his camera, or that is a thing. So it might be like we both shoot Sony and be like, oh yeah, we turn off all of the, you know, JPEG stuff, or we turn off the DRO, or we only shoot in black and white. Even though we'll come in raw. Those are like those little things you would never know, right? Like no one would ever know from your work that you shot in black and white and then converted to color later.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, but that's like one of those things that helps you as a creative. And so it's really cool to kind of dive into other industries and see that nitty gritty, you know?
Yeah, no. I love that. Most of my books are like how say, like, I forgot the word. Like Gary Vee stuff or Austin Kleon, you know, all these kinds of amazing people who knows how to create amazing interviews, and you can learn that kind of stuff from the creators. Yeah, I don't read about photography, man. It's all about like inspiration.
Yeah. Yeah, all about inspiration. I love that. That's probably what this episode is going to be about. It's just all about inspiration.
Yeah, not about productivity, because it's like, whatever. I'm from Mexico. They don't pay me by the hour, you know, but it's more about, like what makes you tick and why you chose this path instead of the other one, and honoring life, man.
Yeah. How's your Patreon going? I'm kind of curious about that, you know, and it's all in Spanish, right? Like how's that going for you?
Yeah, well, I started to add like English subtitles to it, and I think sometimes in Mexico it takes a little bit longer to get the information, and a lot of Mexicans or Latin Americans, they don't speak English, so that's what I chose to put everything in Spanish, because that way I can communicate easier with everyone. But it's a really good community. It's almost 2 years up, and I don't know. It's another job. It's my second job per se, but I don't know. It's I love. Have you watched the Patreon creator like TED Talk?
No, I haven't heard that at all.
Dude, after this, just watch it. It's amazing, and how he was like a YouTuber, and how the algorithm can change and your business can die. You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So how he. Yeah. Based on that, he started to create this new platform. So I love learning that. Like when you're in time of crisis, okay, how did you react to something and helped other people? And I think that's one of the beautiful things about the wedding photography industry, that I don't see a lot of selfishness. That it's easy to connect with other people, and no one's hiding their freaking top secrets anymore. You know, it's more like, hey, I do it like this. And not because you have the information, you're going to be good enough. You have to put the time to master your craft, or a little bit of your craft per se. but I love that. It's a really beautiful community.
Yeah, it's almost like we can give away everything we know and share everything we know and get paid a little bit for that. We get paid for the mistakes we've made, the expertise we've learned. Like I think that is the guy that founded Patreon. He was in a band, right? Pompaloose,
yes,
or however it's called. That's cool. Okay, so I do remember him. All right, yeah, I was like, this guy is the same guy. I'm pretty sure. That's so cool. I love that. Do you have, what kind of stuff are you putting out on Patreon for you? Like, is it like how you shoot, or is it more inspirational? What do you talk about? What's Fer's thing?
A little bit of everything. Like I have finding like different holes to fill. Like per se, like when I get a wedding and they don't have like enough budget to book me, I give them like another offer. Like, hey guys, like I have this community. Like let's do this. I'm gonna charge you less, but allow me to bring like a video guy so we can cover your wedding, and I can share it with other photographers so they can learn. So I have a few weddings like that on Patreon. Sometimes I do like editorial shoots with real couples, nothing like fashion wise, not just like real couples, and we just go outside and photograph, and we do the making of, editing as well. The fuck ups as well. That's people love that. The fuck up section, and I sometimes I just record with a mic and I just go walking, talking about my process, talking about my failures, and it's more like insightful, and they love that, and like talking about being worried or about how sometimes, or I think always, sorry, as a wedding photographers, we're not gonna always be shooting. We have a caducity date on us. So we have to be really wise with what we do with our money. So, and don't waste and buy the new camera because it's just have an extra button or an extra feature. I'm just trying to educate us, not only them, because it's a reminder for me to take care of the things that we have to value as well.
Man, that'll preach right there.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of things, and I'm always getting feedback, and I don't know a lot of things, but I'm trying to give everything and just learn new things so everyone can share as well.
Yeah, Pastor Fernando.
No, man. No. It's just being honest and being humble and being vulnerable instead of, I'm the big shit, I'm gonna teach you. It's not like that.
Yeah.
When I'm shooting, I'm like a chicken without a head, man. I'm just like all over, and people can see that, and then they see the result, and it's like, okay, I wasn't thinking about that. So it's that I want them to see that it's not as beautiful. You have to be on the ground. You have to be dirty and just create.
Yeah, people don't realize though. I think there's good insight there where like you have to. I always say like when we're shooting a wedding, I might look rough, but the images I create don't look rough. They're not. They don't look bad, and it's almost like you can think of lots of things like construction or gardening or anybody who makes things with their hair, or like even getting your hair cut, right? Like it's going to look bad until it looks done,
Yeah, definitely.
Like the final product is going to be beautiful, and that's okay. Like that's the best part about being a photographer is that we're not in the images, in literally, we might be in them inspirationally, but
yeah. And I envy all these photographers that they live and they photograph weddings when you don't sweat a lot, because here in Mexico, if you want to like dress like a super hipster with a bow tie, you're going to die, man. So you have to just wear like freaking flip-flops and shorts and just go crazy, man.
I love that. Do you actually get to wear flip-flops to weddings?
Sometimes I do, but well, I always try to ask what's the dress code, so I'm not like the freaking flamingo in the room. But I always ask.
Yeah, you don't want to be the black sheep or be too noticeable. That makes sense. The past few weddings, I've always wanted to, wear a suit jacket and look really nice and think like, oh yeah, we're in the luxury wedding market. We should look luxury. And then the realize is like, I can't shoot like that. Like I'm sweating. I'm a big guy. Like by the end of the wedding day, I feel like I want to throw away my clothes, but I like that. They're gross. I'd be like, all right, I'm done. I worked for this.
Yeah, but you have to be okay if not all the fancy wedding planners want to work with you, because that has happened here in Mexico as well. Like at least here, like wedding planners are like mafia bosses, man. You know, if you don't like them, you're screwed. So I don't know if in the States it's the same, but yeah, it's weird, and I have to be okay with that.
Yeah, no, 100%. Dude, well, hey, this has been awesome. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but so great meeting you in person at Creative Summit. That was really cool. I appreciate your down to earthness, man. Like 100-some-odd-thousand Instagram followers, and you know, I'm already getting DMs like, oh my gosh, I heard you're having Fernando on. Like, this is gonna be cool, and I just really appreciate you coming on. It's really cool. What's the best place that you want people to check out? Like, what's your Patreon? Like, what's your Instagram? Where should people go to find you? And a bonus one, what's your favorite movie right now?
Okay, I think well, Fer Juaristi everywhere. Except Tinder, you know, I don't go there. But yeah, like I think favorite movie, I loved Lighthouse. Like recently, Midsummer as well was beautiful, beautifully shot, beautiful story. Well, cuckoo story, but amazingly performed and done. I loved Ferrari versus Ford Ferrari. Yeah. And I don't know, I just try to watch whatever sounds, you know, but always based on the cinematographer. So yeah, and talking about followers, man, I think that's a consequence. That has never been a goal. You know, I don't sell my weddings through Instagram. Like I don't push them. I just show potential. But yeah, I think if we get hooked on that, just become an influencer, not become a photographer. So I think if we take care of our craft, of our community, most of my weddings come from this industry. So just be respectful and be present as well. Like be part of the community. Don't be an asshole. Don't be on your freaking creative cave. You have to get outside and you have to talk to people, and things go your way. And yeah, I trust in the universe and I don't trust in myself, man.
I love that, man. Well, thank you so much for being on. And next time you're out on the East Coast, come say hi and we'll hang out. I'll grab coffee.
Definitely, Adam. After coronavirus, everything you want, brother.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Fer. I'll talk to you later, buddy.
Bye, brother.
Oh, man. What a freaking good episode. I feel like that one was, action-packed. I mean, Fer is, I'm going to probably slip up and say Fer every once in a while, but Fer he has a way of talking about inspiration and this giving permission, I think, that a lot of photographers don't understand. You know, we think it's about the shooting or the client experience and all this stuff. And, you know, as far as how you approach creating the images that will tell the story, it's this permission, this childishness, as he might say, to go for it. And I just absolutely love Fernando and his mission. So definitely go check out his work. Go check out his Patreon. Bonus points if you speak Spanish. I think it'd be really cool. And it's just going to be different insight than the majority of the Patreon creators who are, you know, US based, who are still great, but just really, really cool. The guy is the real deal, and he's been doing it for a long time. So definitely go say hi. Tell him the Bearded Tog sent you. Thanks to our sponsors, Tave and Photo Booth Supply Co. And guys, definitely make sure you're in the Facebook group. We're doing lots of workshops. We're doing lots of little insights, creating free content for you guys in there. That's, for all intents and purposes, that's our Patreon right now. So come hang out in the Facebook group, togfb.com, togfb.com. Thank you guys so much for everything. Have a wonderful day. Keep being awesome.